Welcome to Storytelling. I am Phil, the host of all things wrestling. There's some shit going on that started on Twitter. We're going to get into that. I got a link down below in the description, by the way, to Sportskeeda, which has a 1-hour YouTube podcast with the man himself, Dirty Dutch Mantell. Love that guy. But I also love Ric Flair. And I also have a link to Storytime with Dutch Mantell. It's his actual YouTube channel. I'm subscribed to it. We're going to see what he had to say for a quick moment in a moment. But this all started yesterday when I was on Twitter, a place that I don't want to admit how much time I spend on here because there's a lot of wonderful people that I get to interact with, and it's just amazing. Out of nowhere, I see, because I follow Rick. Thank God they used the word veteran and didn't call you a legend. Just a miserable old wrestler trying to make a buck. And by the way, you never had a legacy to begin with. Woo! That was cringy, but it's okay. It's okay, we'll get over it. Here's a little bit of irony, and I love Rick to death, but I call a spade a spade. I need to be transparent in how I think and how I feel. Rick, you're actually 2 months older than Dutch. So, okay? And you actually made a buck, a big buck. Apparently $300,000 US you made on that match. This has to do with Ric Flair and his son-in-law when they wrestled Jay Lethal there. Okay? Remember the match that he just had there. Sorry, my brain. Okay? So, anyways, let's hear what the Dutch man had to say really quick here.
He looked like hell. He looked like, and we've talked about this before. I thought he was going to die. I thought the guy was going to die in the ring. And as far as making $300,000, I don't think he made that. What did the promoter make? Did he promote it himself, or did
this was the Conrad Thompson thing?
Conrad,
yeah.
But I'm sure that was a 50-50 deal. I guess I'm sure you're not going to do it for nothing. And yeah, they drew a great house in the Nashville Civic Coliseum. It holds about 7,000 people. It's an old arena, but still a functioning arena. It still works. But I don't know if he made $300,000. But if he did, so what? I don't know.
Yeah.
I was disappointed, and he ripped the fans off. And even he planned, and I've said this before, the layout of the match was wrong. Why didn't they let his son-in-law do the sell part and Rick make the comeback instead of him going in there and trying to sell and then winning the match? And he was sweating like a Russian racehorse.
Yeah, so, I agree with a lot of what he says here. I mean, it wasn't that great of a match, but I don't think it was really supposed to be. What I mean by that is by Ric Flair's age, how Ric Flair is today. Were you really expecting a Ric Flair Macho Man WrestleMania 8 caliber match? Right? So when he says the fans got ripped, I mean, I see where he's coming from there, truthfully, because I think Ric Flair, it was said that he was a bit drunk. He had been drinking. He admitted he doesn't even remember part of the match. He blacked out a couple of times. But Ric Flair did what he's incredibly passionate about. A lot of people will argue, there comes a time where you just got to hang it up and you got to learn when to stay away. Don't be pulling a Tom Brady and just keep coming in and out, right? But it's Ric Flair. It is, how I look at it is, if I would have went to the event, I honestly probably wouldn't have felt ripped off. There's a lot of people there. Bret the Hitman Hart, The Undertaker, just to name a few. Ric Flair obviously was there. Jay Lethal. It was just... It made Ric Flair feel good. He had a good time. It didn't look like he had a good time. But and this is going to sound disrespectful, but I wasn't expecting much from that match to begin with. So, but yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue that it wasn't, you know, that great of a match, but it wasn't supposed to. So that's like my take on it, but I totally see where Dutch is coming from. And then Ric Flair coming out and saying you're not a legend. Well, let me tell you something. Dirty Dutch Mantell. Believe me, when you encompass everything that is him, he is absolutely a legend with a capital L. A lot of people, I remember him, Zeb Coulter, he was with Jack Swagger there, and he had that little thing. What else has he done? Look him up. And another person argued, what do you mean, look him up? If I have to look him up, that just proves our point. And that's where Damien Sandow, a.k.a. Aaron's Thoughts, he agreed with me. He liked my comment. That was cool. That Dutch is a legend. I said, look, man, I don't know if Ric Flair saw my tweet. He's liked a couple of things I've said in the past. I said, look, you know, you're entitled to your opinion. I respect that. But Dutch is a legend. And then Ric Flair shouted back on Twitter saying, I just made you more famous than you'll ever be in a single tweet. And then here it says, oh, thank you, Rick. Apparently you made me famous with one tweet, more than I'll ever be. Rick, please send out another tweet. I want as many tweets as you can send out with my name in them because you did me a favor. I'd say that. He called me an old something, a cripple old man. I'll give you one. I'm old. And I also remember him telling the fans to kiss his ass. I remember that too. And I'll give you another one, Rick. I'm old, but you are too. Yeah, see? You are 2 months older than I am. So you can't blame it on that. Anyways, I just thought the whole thing was just whatever. You know, when it comes down to it, really, with all this, I don't even think any of this shit's newsworthy. That's why I'm making a video on it. I'm actually more laughing at the fact that a back and forth from two individuals is considered news. This is like, ooh. Who cares? They're having a disagreement. But then I looked on Ric Flair's page, and he said something very nice here. 14 hours ago. Dutch, let's just agree to hopefully growing old, reluctantly, but gracefully. We as old vets need to be united, not at odds. That was a nice thing that he said. Everybody in life is controversial. I'm controversial, just nobody knows about any of my controversy because I'm a nobody. But we've all said and done shit that, you know, we'd hope people just have forgotten. Okay? Like Adam Rose in WWE or No Way Jose. You know, there's a lot of things that happen in life that sometimes we just wish we could forget. And we can't. So I just leave it at that. It's a nice thing that what he said. And then this one, just under an hour ago, daylight saving times, asked me like this. And then I tweeted back and I was like, yeah, it has me like this. That death stare from Ric Flair, which I believe actually comes from when he was not facing, but it was a TNA Impact there with Jay Lethal when Jay Lethal was doing his impression of Ric Flair. And he was like, you can't be me. You can't be me. Oh, man. The supposed drama. But it happens. I've had heated exchanges with people back when I was in elementary school. In high school, you say some shit, oh, you piece of shit. Yeah. Who cares? Really? I don't even know why I made this video. Well, because it has to do with wrestling. It has to do with two people that I do very much appreciate. And I don't feel like I'm in the middle. I just call a spade a spade. Dutch raised some really good points that are very hard to argue with. Right? So it's like I support Ric Flair for having done that match. I personally myself wouldn't have done it. That's just me, though. Right? But that part, that was like the ultimate comeback. Decrepit or crippled old man. And it's like, you're older than me. Like, Right? Oh, man. I tell you. But yeah, I love his podcast. Ric Flair also has a YouTube channel. I gotta slow down, folks, with all these legends and shit making all these YouTube channels. Here I am trying to come up with my third one, hoping the third one's gonna be a charm, because my other two YouTube channels, I mean, my first one's making me a little bit of money there, but it's a little bit of a flunk. You know, it's not all roses there. So I'm kind of hoping this one's gonna flourish into something a bit more, because I'm just so passionate about everything that has to do with wrestling. To me, this isn't work, but on my first channel, a lot of what I talk about, I don't even enjoy a lot of what I do. I do it because it gives me some money, right? That's how I afforded the better microphone. It's how I was able to buy a brand new computer last year. It's how I was able to get an iPhone. Wow. You know, a little ring light so you could see me properly. I mean, I have an expensive one in my closet. It's almost $200. That's actually a ring light that's hanging on my DSLR camera that I got from the dollar store for like $3.50. Oh man. Okay, I'm kind of just going all over the place. But hey, it's in the proper playlist. It's called Storytelling, and literally it could be about just me talking about random shit. You know, like when I used to wrestle as a kid, my friends and stuff, and how they would get angry and whatnot because I was power bombing them in the snow and shit like that. We were careful though. None of us ever got hurt. Just so you know, in my illustrious amateur, you know, backyard wrestling career, that's how many botches we've had, boys. That's how many botches we've had. Which is a lot less than what AEW can say. Oh, I just went there. Little cheap shot. It's okay. Speaking of AEW, I appreciate them, right? But like I said, I like poking jabs at everything. Doesn't mean I hate, right? That's the world that we live in sometimes. You poke a little fun, you say some shit back and forth, and people think it's the fucking end of the world. If this was in the 80s or the 90s and we had YouTube and Twitter and all the social media crap, nobody would probably be talking about this, right? They wouldn't be. This isn't news. The fact that it made news is, to me, what is news. Did that make any sense? Because it did to me. Anyhow, that's enough of my rambling for now, at least. I'll probably be back a little bit later if there's anything spectacular to talk about. But definitely check out those links down below. I'm going to have to... I don't need to link Twitter. Definitely going to put up Story Time with Dutch Mantell. I love this guy. Go ahead and subscribe to his channel if you enjoy him as much as I do. And again, the link here to Sportskeeda, to where I got an embedded YouTube link to a 1-hour podcast with Dutch and a couple of people here on the Smack Talk. If you made it this far, you're pretty crazy. You're pretty crazy. You can go ahead, give it a thumbs up if you did like the video, as it does greatly help support the channel with the algorithm, as I'm on the slow road to 1,000 subs and 4,000 hours to see if I can monetize this channel maybe sometime this year. Maybe for Christmas, as a Christmas gift, shortly after my birthday in mid-November. That would be swell. But if not, shit happens. You didn't like the video, go ahead, give it a thumbs down, and I'll put you in a figure 4 leg lock. And if you want to subscribe, naturally, that'd be great. But if not, thanks for stopping by anyways. Take care. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about anything. And maybe I'll see some of you in the next one. Bye for now.